All right. So I'm back. I'm going to do this one real quick. We were talking about the release of that photograph. If the release of the Epstein files, if it's going to happen, and all of that in the last video, right? And some of the dynamics behind it. Also, a few other things associated with that crew, Ghislaine, Maxwell, and Trump, and Epstein, and all the others, right? A few very shady. That wrote some weird letters also to Epstein. You need to hear it. It's just the last video, but I wanted to cover something because you know the way I said something, I made it sound like I just oversimplified it, and that is the idea of can Pam Bondi or Cash Patel, can't they resolve this thing about the Trump letter, alleged Trump birthday letter to or birthday note to Epstein? So I'm saying yes because come on, it's within their power. They have it's at the tip of their fingers. If they wanted it, they could provide it. But or they might have to go through some legal hoops to do it still because there's laws. Even though these people don't agree with the laws they have to follow, they think you should just be able to wing anything you want when they want something. But it may not be easy because there's a lot of scrutiny on them right now, right? And there's a lot of eyes on them. But in any case, and also the subject matter, people are already suspecting that they would do something dubious because they've been dubious the entire time, right? So, but in any case, so they hot. In other words, in street terms, people say, y'all hot, and they are hot. But I looked back on a few things and I found some stuff you might be interested in. So first, I'm going to play some of this crap that's in that alleged Trump Epstein birthday thing, which most reasonable people assume it's true, right? Here, let's just go over that and then I'm going to play what I found.
Images turn image 1 turn image 2 0 image 3's turn 0 image 4. Here's what's known. A Wall Street Journal investigation reveals that in 2003, Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday album, assembled by Ghislaine Maxwell, included a bawdy letter attributed to Donald Trump. The letter featured a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman, with Trump's signature scribbled below to mimic pubic hair, and an accompanying typewritten, fictional dialogue between Epstein and Trump. It ended, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Cite to News 20 turn search 7 turn search turn. The WSJ also reports the note begins. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, and includes lines like, "Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey." Yes, we do. Cite turn search turn search 7 son.
Okay.
Trump has vehemently denied writing or drawing the letter.
Right. So Trump denied that, right? Trump has denied it. Of course he would. Why wouldn't he deny it? If he wrote that, that's of course damning, and of course he denies everything that he does at any time. If anyone accuses him of anything, it's always deny, shift, repeat. For Trump. So of course he would deny it, right? Not necessarily because he's telling the truth about why, but there's always some fork-tongued doublespeak in this thing. But listen to this, y'all. This exposed something else when I was looking up something. I wanted to make sure I was solid about can Pam Bondi just turn over these files or can Cash Patel do it? And in researching that, I found out something very interesting. You should hear it. Check this out. You should hear some of the dynamics. This explains a lot of the shenanigans you hear them going through. It's very, and suggestions about other stuff is really, it's actually really wild. But here, I'm so glad I took the second to do this.
Here's what's publicly known. Could Pam Bondi or Alex Acosta have known about Trump's birthday note? Pam Bondi was Florida's Attorney General from 2011 to 2019, and later U.S. Attorney General in 2025. The leather-bound birthday album in question was seized in the mid-2000s during the Florida federal probe, well before she became Florida AG. While she later oversaw public pressure to release Epstein files, there's no evidence she ever personally reviewed or had knowledge of this specific note. Cite turn search 38, turn search 4. Alex Acosta, a U.S. attorney in Miami in the mid-2000s, led the Epstein case. His team certainly processed evidence from the 2003-2006 probe, including items seized from Epstein's properties in Florida. So Acosta's office...
All right. So I'm back now. Let me just pull this back up for y'all real quick. I got to turn the camera off. You know, I have this thing about my security, and it tries to secure everything. And when it sees this app open up, it doesn't necessarily like the app, so it ends up spending a lot of time checking and things like that. But yeah, so forgive me for that, because I have to remember to make some adjustments before I come on this program, right? But in any case, I did see the comment about, it's funny how people think the Democrats are different from the Republicans. Well, that's conjecture. I mean, do you think that? You're a person, you're a people, right? Again, I vote for people and causes specifically. I'm not what you call a single issue voter. So, first of all, to get my attention, no matter what else is going on earth, hell could be falling out of the sky. Lava could be at our feet. If you're not talking about how you're going to get Americans health care, regardless of what party you are, the individual, if the individual is not on board with universal health care or trying to get more people access to health care, I'm not listening to them. If they're not talking about more housing, fair housing, I'm not listening to them. Specifically, these kind of things in a comprehensive way. If they're not talking about getting more Americans, white, black, and every other thing, more access to higher education, technical school, free access, I am not voting for you. It doesn't matter what your party is. Epstein shouldn't matter what your party is. The conversation about Epstein shouldn't be about that. If I'm talking about Republicans, it's because they're in total control right now and are the only ones that can do something about it. If they weren't that, I wouldn't be talking about their asses at all, to be honest with you. But they take up a lot of space. So we got to talk about them too. And I hope you don't take offense to that. I've never seen a Democrat take up this much space. I've never seen Democrats control the White House, the Congress, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. I mean, I haven't. So not in my lifetime. So if you think it's all the same, hey, buddy, more power to you, right? You think it's all the same if you want. But remember, you're part of the people called American. So include yourself in it also. Now let's get back to this. I was stumbling on some stuff in regards to, can Pam Bondi and Cash Patel just authenticate this letter because it's in their possession. They seized it. And something told me, you know what, let me go back and just look at some of the details, not generalize it, right? We all generalize sometimes, but we can all check ourselves on it too, you know, when necessary, you know, and that's most of the time. I try not to generalize a lot. It's offensive to a lot of people. And it's also a waste of energy when you're trying to communicate, right? But in any case, so the question is, can they? And I said, let me go back. And then I discovered something that was even more helpful than before. So here, let's play this again.
Image 1 turn image 2 0 image 3's turn 0 image 4.
Now we heard this.
Here's what's known.
I'm gonna play it again.
A Wall Street Journal investigation reveals that in 2003, Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday album, assembled by Ghislaine Maxwell, included a bawdy letter attributed to Donald Trump. The letter featured a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman, with Trump's signature scribbled below to mimic pubic hair, and an accompanying typewritten, fictional dialogue between Epstein and Trump. It ended, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Cite to News 20 turn search 7 turn search turn. The WSJ also reports the note begins. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, and includes lines like, "Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Yes, we do. Cite turn search turn search.
So we got that part down. And no, you can't believe, Teresa, everything. You shouldn't believe anything anyone tells you or anything you read. You should go qualify it and research it yourself. I'm only having a discussion. Do you believe everything you read on a website? Sounds like a lot of projection there because I sure enough don't. But I'm also been on Earth long enough and been a critical thinker long enough to understand when something basically is factually true, because we're only talking about facts here. We're not doing anything else. It's only about facts, you know? And if you can't disprove it just as quickly as I can bring the information up, then hey, it is what it is. Now, here's the interesting part. And I
Here's
appreciate the
what's publicly
trolls.
known.
That's okay. I mean, it's feel
Good
free to troll. I used to do that too when I came on the net. But because it boosts the algorithm, it helps more people get the message. Everybody doesn't agree with you. I don't need to agree with everybody myself. In fact, most of my ideas come from not agreeing with Republicans or Democrats. As an American, although I'm a member of the Democratic Party, because they do tend to talk about health care, women's rights, to their body, things like that. Basic stuff. Basic stuff. Not that they can't be way better. And the reason why that is because I live outside of the US and I know that it can be way better when it comes to those things. And in fact is. So I don't have to believe it. I live it. Now, let's get back to this. Take a listen. Take a listen. Don't be so negative before you hear. Let's take a listen. Can Pam Bondi or Cash Patel just show them the letter? Can they authenticate it? Can't they just say whether it's real or fake since Trump says it's fake news? Right? Let's see.
Register image 1 turn. Here's what's publicly known. Could Pam Bondi or Alex Acosta have known about Trump's birthday note? Pam Bondi was Florida's Attorney General from 2011 to 2019, and later U.S. Attorney General in 2025. The leather-bound birthday album in question was seized in the mid-2000s during the Florida federal probe, well before she became Florida AG. While she later oversaw public pressure to release Epstein files, there's no evidence she ever personally reviewed or had knowledge of this specific note. Site turn search 38, turn search 4. Alex Acosta, as U.S. Attorney in Miami in the mid-2000s, led the Epstein case. His team certainly processed evidence from the 2003-2006 probe, including items seized from Epstein's properties in Florida. So Acosta's office would have been aware such materials existed. But it's unclear if he or any staffers examined this booklet specifically. Acosta later downplayed the existence of broader client lists, but the birthday book was never publicly discussed. Site turn search. In short, the seizure occurred during Acosta's tenure, so his office was at least institutionally aware. Bondi, who became AG later, had no direct involvement with the seizure or handling at that time. Has Ghislaine Maxwell ever commented on the book? There are no public statements from Maxwell about the birthday album or Trump's note. She has not confirmed, denied, or addressed its authenticity or her having assembled it. Maxwell's communications since her conviction have focused on her legal case and petitioning for broader disclosure, but none have specifically mentioned this item. Bug site, turn news 6, turn search 35, summary table, question, known facts. Did Bondi know? Unlikely, she assumed office after seizure and never referenced the book. Did Acosta know? Possibly. His office led the seizure and likely handled album evidence. Did Maxwell comment? No, she's made no known public remarks on the album or its contents. Why does this matter? Legal internal knowledge. Acosta's team may have catalogued the album, but no indication exists it impacted prosecution or plea negotiations. Public accountability. Neither Bondi nor Maxwell have taken public positions or rebutted the authenticity of specific entries. Evidence chain. The album's path is traceable, from seizure, 2003-06, to FBI DA storage to scans reviewed by WSJ in 2025. Would you like me to watch for any court documents or filings, especially new disclosures from Bondi's DOJ or Maxwell's team, that might shed more? Here's what's currently known. 1. How many personal letters from Trump were seized? So far, only one. The 2003 birthday letter included in Jeffrey Epstein's album has been publicly reported as being in the FBI DOJ's possession. Site turn 20, turn search 10. There are no mentions of any additional personal letters from Trump to Epstein having been seized or catalogued by authorities in publicly released documents. 2. Is the birthday letter the only one? Yes, based on available information. WSJ examined a leather-bound album compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, which included a page with Trump's alleged letter. No other notes or letters by Trump have been reported. Site turn news 20, bar turn search 10. 3. How did the WSJ get access to the birthday letter? WSJ journalists reviewed DOJ FBI evidence, specifically the scanned version of the album held in federal custody. These scans were part of the trove reviewed during U.S. Attorney General-led investigations into Epstein. Site turn news 20, turn search 10. WSJ reporters Khadija Safdar and Joseph Palazzolo viewed images or documents logged and stored by the FBI during earlier evidence gathering. Site turn news 20, turn 0 search 10 none. 4. When, where, and how? The album containing Trump's note was seized in 2003 during the early federal investigation into Epstein, most likely at one of his properties in Florida or New York. It was then entered into FBI DOJ evidence files. Site turn news 20, turn search 10. WSJ's reporting from mid-July 2025 is based on DOJ FBI scans of this vetted evidence, reviewed during an internal review of approximately 100,000 documents. Site and search 10, turn search 12. Summary table, question answer. How many personal Trump to Epstein letters? Only one is publicly known. Is this the only letter? Yes, no others reported. How did WSJ access it? Via DOJ's FBI scans of the evidence files. When and how was it seized? Seized in 2003, Florida, NY. Log maintained by federal investigators. Let me know if you'd like me to track upcoming filings or documents, especially the Wall Street Journal, and investigators reportedly had access to a large volume of scanned evidence related to Jeffrey Epstein's case, including but not limited to.
Now, here is the interesting part. I mean, it's getting more interesting. Those facts were helpful, right, for me. But I want folks to prepare yourselves because there's something else that I had no clue of. But it goes back to my statement of this is never going to be hidden. This is coming out in this next 6 months. You're going to find out one way or another before this midterm elections. You are. And the reason why, I'm going to play it to you right now.
Types of scans reportedly accessed. 1. The birthday album scans. The WSJ's main scoop was based on scanned images of the leather-bound birthday booklet compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, which contained letters and drawings from Epstein's circle, including Trump's page. 2. Photographs and video evidence. FBI evidence included photographs and videos seized from Epstein's properties, capturing individuals, guests, and various parties' events. 3. Documents from Epstein's properties. This includes scanned ledgers, contact lists, handwritten notes, diaries, and address books found during raids, often used to identify victims and associates. 4. Electronic devices. Scans or forensic images of hard drives, phones, and computers and scans or forensic properties. This includes scanned ledgers, contact the leather-bound birthday booklet compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, which contained letters and drawings from Epstein's circle, including Trump's page. 2. Photographs and video evidence. FBI evidence included photographs and videos seized from Epstein's properties, capturing individuals, guests, and various parties' events. 3. Documents from Epstein's properties.
Now, they're telling you what they seized. And then they're going to tell you the volume. Can y'all hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me, y'all. I just want to make sure you can hear. I don't want to waste y'all time. Can you hear me? Put one in the chat if you can hear me. Yeah, put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Stereo Eye Hunter. Thank you. Now, this is the thing. They're going to go into to what was really seized. And yo, this is going to be a shocker. I mean, this should be a shocker for you. It was a shocker for me. They're going to tell you how many files were seized, but not only that. Yes, y'all. They're going to tell you about what journalists during the Biden administration had access to the files and how many thousands of them. So Biden didn't keep the journalist out of the files. Check this out.
This includes scanned ledgers, contact lists, handwritten notes, diaries, and address books found during raids, often used to identify victims and associates. 4. Electronic devices. Scans or forensic images of hard drives, phones, and computers seized from Epstein or Maxwell, containing emails, text messages, and digital records. 5. Financial and legal documents. Scanned bank records, invoices, contracts, and other financial transactions linked to Epstein's network, supporting money laundering and trafficking allegations. 6. Victim and witness statements. Scanned copies of testimonies, affidavits, and victim statements collected during investigations and court proceedings. Volume and context. Reports say the DOJ and FBI reviewed over 100,000 pages of evidence, with many scanned as part of the investigation and trial prep. The WSJ had access to portions of this evidence, especially related to the birthday album and communications linked to Epstein's social circle. The scanned evidence files were stored in federal evidence repositories, which the DOJ allowed certain journalists to review under controlled conditions as part of their reporting on Epstein's connections. And
You hear that? Yep. That means a whole hooping lot of journalists were given access to certain to open possibly 10,000 different files. You see what I mean? So there's though that adds on to the amount of people that already know about this. Journalists, different journalists. Not only through espionage could others know, foreign governments know what's in there already. Not only could people that worked in the DOJ right now or in Biden's administration know it, the ones who worked on certain prosecutions or whatever, absolutely. But the key thing is the other people. Let's not think about Pam Bondi right now. Let's not think about Trump. We have to think about Trump. Let's not think about Biden and the Democrats and what they did for this 1 second. Let's think about the fact that it's a whole lot of people that got access to that information. So therefore, you could expect Pam Bondi to shut the hell up about this letter. Trump to shut. They're not going to make statements. They're not going to make statements because they don't know who's going to fucking come up with the information. See, they have access to the information. The DOJ, yeah, the feds do. But they don't know who else, how many journalists have access to that information, what exact information do they have access to. So you see what I'm getting at? But let me let it play.
And the scope of the investigation. What WSJ focused on. The birthday booklet scans were the centerpiece, as they revealed direct personal notes from Epstein's contacts. WSJ also cross-referenced these with grand jury transcripts and FBI interviews to provide context. If you want, I can monitor for any new leaks or document releases about when journalists, including the Wall Street Journal, gained access to the Jeffrey Epstein-related DOJ FBI evidence in 2025. The U.S. Attorney General heading the Department of Justice was Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland was appointed by President Joe Biden.
So you see? So this is another dimension. Journalists already have been shown up to something like 10,000 different files under the Biden administration. So they don't really know, outside of what they were shown. You also don't know through espionage who Jeffrey Epstein gave other information to or who came and spied on him. You don't know. And therefore, it's very difficult for them to make comments openly. Essentially, what they've done, the Trump administration has done, is through Trump, because he's the mastermind. No, I don't believe myself that everybody that follows him know how deep this rabbit hole goes. I think a lot of them are about to find out myself. I think they're basically fools to opportunism, wanting the job, thinking about the pension that they're going to get from the great American people. So what the heck? Fuck it. Trump's an asshole, so I'll go along with it. But I don't think a lot of them really know. Now, some of them know a lot more than others. But I think this thing about Trump, he's out of control. He makes statements, public statements, and he forces all the people to work with him to back everything up, to back it up. That's where his conspiracy goes wrong, And that's basically it. He talks a lot openly, and he makes people do stuff and take the blame for it. So at the end of the day, you get enough public evidence, you get enough public remarks from Trump to where it damns him in court every single time. He doesn't leave himself any defense, So Pam Bondi, she can get access to the files if she goes through a lot of loopholes. We're talking about if she wants to follow the law. Cash Patel has an easier time. He can actually get the access to those files because he's in the FBI. But even so, look at this. Even so, they open their mouths up a lot because this is the letter where they say they have all the files. They say it right here in this letter. Dear Director Patel, before you came into office, we went over this. A lot of it's conjecture, but I requested the full and complete files related to the Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein list of contacts, and a list. So she's saying she didn't have access to nothing at that time. She had to write Cash Patel, who finally got appointed, and then he would cooperate. I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request and was repeatedly assured by the FBI, see, just like I said, that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source, just a private source, that the FBI, no name, probably Trump, but the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Okay, we don't get to know who, if any of that's true, but this is what she's writing to her coworker. And then, despite, they could have had this conversation over the phone, by the way, but so it's intentional, right? Despite she wants the public to know this is her perspective, she, without providing evidence. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised. Yeah, conjecture. See, she's pulling that into it. He was also surprised. I was to learn about this new information. Now, by 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office. You see where I'm getting at, y'all? Including all records, documents, audio, video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. So she's clearly stating that she had this in her possession at one time, but that the FBI has it in their possession. I mean, no one's saying that the FBI doesn't have it in their possession, by the way. I mean, click like if you follow me. They're not saying the FBI don't have it. That's the real revealing thing. But in any case, this was written in February. So it's clear in February she had access to this by her own admission Whether she read it or not, we don't know. No one can guess that. We're not we don't read minds, right? We're not mind readers, but we can go on what she says right here unless you believe she's lying. Is there something about this I shouldn't believe? Should I just toss this letter out? I think she's being highly manipulative, but I believe she really wrote this letter herself. Because she's a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? She's a damn fool, right? So she from February, they said 14 days they will have all the damn things, and she will write a report about what they talked about and blah blah blah. Now, so back to this. She's had the opportunity if she wanted to look at it. Cash Patel still has the opportunity if he wants to look at it. He has the easiest time getting access to it. Neither one of them are saying it's not real, because here's the thing, why they're not going to say it's not real. Because there's so many other people that had access to not only this information and other information. I mean, they cannot claim to say, not only can they not claim to not have much because of their own letter, they claim they have it all. But they also can't make another claim. Any claim. They cannot argue against anyone else's position because they don't know how many other people through these journalists have access to which information. 10,000 different files. That's a hell of a lot of files. So that means where Rupert Murdoch dropped, and they weren't the only journalists. Where he dropped is not even one little drop in the bucket of files that the journalists have. That means on this issue, it's pretty much checkmate, because they won't have an ability to really know where to wiggle and where to manipulate at. They've always had that possibility before, but it's pretty much they didn't use their brains. You know what I'm saying? They don't believe in a structure. They don't believe in categorizing things. They don't believe in having offices with files and logging them, a logging system like a library. They don't believe in professionalism, but professionals know this is how shit works. You can't fool everybody. You can't fool the professionals. You can fool the layman, because a lot of laymen aren't used to that level of detail in their professions. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's really what it is. And it is time consuming. It is meticulous, So, yeah, click like. I appreciate everybody coming out. I'm going to let this play so you can hear the rest.
And confirmed in 2021. He is not a Trump appointee. He served under the Biden administration. The DOJ's decision to allow journalists limited access to certain Epstein evidence, including the birthday booklet scans, happened under Garland's leadership as part of ongoing transparency efforts and media inquiries. So to answer your question directly, no, the DOJ head who authorized or oversaw journalist access was not a Trump appointee.
Okay, anybody disagree with that part? Who was it? Who was it that gave the journalists access? Michael Switzer, since you don't like AI, tell me, is that correct or false? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what you're using. Is it right or wrong? Is it correct or false? Is it good or bad? I mean, what the heck? What the next thing you know, you're going to say, don't use a computer to research. What is that? That's part of Satan's machinery. Don't use that. That's the fall of the earth. I mean, come on, man. You use the tools you have and ask questions, you see? So, yeah, in any case, no, this ain't no broken clock, Michael. This, if it's a broken clock, it's been right a whole lot of damn, like very deep. And by the way, any information that you go over, public information, which is what this is, you're going to make some mistakes. In fact, that's exactly why I'm doing this stream, to inform my listeners that actually I was right and wrong. And I wanted to explain why, because that's what critical thinkers do. That's what stand-up folks do. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You just have to acknowledge when you're not. And that's what we're talking about. Acknowledge the wrong. Acknowledge the right. If you're not prepared to do both, then you're not playing fair. So that's all I'm saying. I don't give a damn what party you're with. To me, a party doesn't mean nothing. That's just an easy way to hide about the kind of things you support and don't. You could say you're a Democrat. Okay, well, okay, what does that mean? What are you voting for? Who are you voting for in the Democratic Party? You could say you're a Republican. Yeah, but who? What do they stand for in their state? Specifically, that's what I want to know, because that's what I vote for. I don't vote for the person. I vote for the things they say they're going to get, you know, just very period, just very simple. And any person that doesn't go about it that way has a very simple mind politically. I mean, because your vote is your only word. It's your only shot at getting fairness. And you play with that vote, and where you just start generalizing everybody and you start just holding to parties. Yo, what the hell? Whatever happened to thinking? Whatever happened to thinking, no matter what party you're from? And on top of that, whatever happened to being American? You know, understand that some people are going to be right across the aisle different times. You know, you need to acknowledge it sometimes. You know, I mean, most of the time you need to acknowledge it. By the way, healthcare, education, access to education, access to healthcare, a fair living wage for your job, fair housing, that shouldn't be revolutionary. That should just be American. So I hope whoever you vote for is for those things and going to talk about that in a comprehensive manner. I don't care what their party is, but let's go on.
It was Merrick Garland, a Biden appointee. If you want, I can check whether any earlier DOJ heads under Trump had involvement in Epstein evidence access or any changes in policy. Journalists have reportedly been granted access to tens of thousands of scanned images and documents related to Jeffrey Epstein's investigations, but the exact number is not publicly specified. Here's what is known. The Department of Justice and FBI possess a massive trove of evidence from Epstein's properties and investigations, estimated over 100,000 pages of scanned material, including photos, letters, ledgers, videos, electronic communications, and more. The Wall Street Journal and other select journalists were allowed to a curated subset of these materials during their investigative reporting. This included the birthday album scans and other key documents. Access was limited and tightly controlled, meaning journalists saw only portions relevant to their reporting or cleared by DOJ guidelines. Summary. Estimate notes. 100,000 plus pages scans. Total volume of DOJ, FBI, Epstein evidence. Subset accessed by journalists. Likely tens of thousands of scans, documents. The exact total number of scanned images journalists accessed isn't publicly detailed, but it's understood to be a substantial but controlled sample, enough to reveal key insights like the birthday letter.
Yeah, so there you have it. There you have it. Now, again, you know, it would be good to know feedback on what you heard, and not just general statements, you know, because general statements mean you're not really engaged to what we were listening to, you know, because I was listening myself. And, you know, so I'm going to skip comments that don't talk about what you just heard, because that is just a waste of time, right? And you didn't come here for that either, right? You came here to my little ditty that I'm doing here on the radio, right? Explaining a few things. So try to follow my path for a little bit. Since you're here, you're probably not going to get it somewhere else. And, you know, enjoy that ride for a minute. Then you can go back to doing whatever else you do, however else you do it. Now, in my mind, what I heard is that the information is out. A lot more information is out than what people may have previously thought. And it's important to talk about how much information is out there in contrast to the fact that the GOP is refusing to release the files. So the truth of the matter is that no matter how you want to cut it, if you just want to be fair, you don't have to like Biden's politic, but just be fair to yourself and to your fellow Americans, right? The Biden administration already released more information on this shit. Journalists have already released more information on this shit than the Trump administration. It's just that simple. And that's what it really comes down to. So here's the peculiar thing. Trump, their administration, they're not even prepared to argue any of this, because the fact of the matter is that other folks already have information that they refuse to talk about. The journalists have information that the DOJ and feds refuse to talk about. Journalists already have information that Trump refuses to talk about. That's what this means. It doesn't matter if you think, it's not important whether you think he's guilty or innocent. We're just talking about the facts, right? So, what kind of picture does that paint? In my book, whether you like Trump or not, sometimes you got to just call a spade a spade. There is no goddamn way they're getting out of this. It's actually looking very bad for them in terms of this one issue, which is damning, because why would you want to be associated with a pedophile who's committing espionage against your own country and then giving the 1% a damn tax break over you? That doesn't make any sense. Do you not care about yourself? I mean, folks, raise your hand if you care about yourself, because to me, I care about myself. I could give a damn who's doing this. I care about myself, So since I'm not rich, since my family's not rich, since most Americans' families are not rich, the far vast majority are needing, some are complaining about it not being fair. They're complaining about inflation. They're complaining about all kinds of stuff. So Americans aren't happy, right? It kind of tells me if Americans aren't happy, the multitude of Americans and the multitude of Americans that aren't really happy are pretty much the ones that aren't the 1%, because the 1% got the tax break. The 1%, they getting billions of dollars. They got paid more money in the last 10 years than ever in the history of the country. To me, it just seems like if I want to be a little fair, I'll help out the common man for once. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, to me, it seems like it might be a good idea to help out and stick up for the common man a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm going to be out. Please click subscribe. Please click the like button. I'm an American. I live outside of the U.S. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C., but I've traveled a lot in this world. I've traveled inside of the U.S. as doing music as a DJ, and also outside. And I've been living overseas for 20 years. So I care about my country and I care about my countrymen. And I know my countrymen and women need alternative information sources. Especially when it comes to things like how the rest of the world is doing, how is life outside of the U.S. So we have something to compare it to, right? If you don't ever have something to compare it to and you don't know who to trust, well, hey, ask me how things are and I can give you some facts about it. What is it like in Copenhagen, Denmark? What is it like in Europe? You can ask me, how much money do the average person take home after all of their expenses, their housing, their education, their transportation, their food, all these other things? How much money, taxes, how much do they get left in their pocket? I can tell you factually, people here have health care. Their kids get paid to go to school. They have a lot of social rights, a lot of civil rights here. Housing insurance, 2 years unemployment if they need it, all kinds of stuff, right? But they take home more money every month in their own pocket. Wouldn't you want to know that if you're an American? Wouldn't you want to know that from an American that could tell you that actually is in a place factually? So, it's not a popularity contest, so you don't have to like me personally. I'm only talking about the facts, right? So, I don't owe you anything. I'm not talking about the people that don't get me. I know a lot of y'all get me, and I appreciate that. But the people that don't get me or don't agree, I don't owe you anything either. Now, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's just facts. And again, if you want things the hard way, who am I to stand against you, right? Because I don't have things the way you have it. You see what I mean? You see what I'm saying? I would like for you to. Talking about the average folk, but hey, hey, maybe it's not cool to stick up for the working class anymore. Maybe that's not an American thing, you know. But right now, I see pedos who just got the biggest tax break in the history. Pedo, espionage, elitists who just got a tax break that have been a part of brutalizing, raping, and pillaging young American girls. That's what I see. So I don't see what's in it for the everyday person there. I don't see that. So that would definitely not want to be the life I pay my taxes to, right? You can if you want. It's okay. On that note, I appreciate y'all. Be good. Click the like button. Those of you that click it, I appreciate it. And if you don't like it, click the don't like button. They got a thumbs down button too. It's all good for the algorithm. I'll be back. I don't know. I'm going to go out and enjoy the sun now. I got to meet with the kids and stuff down at the harbor, basically go swimming down there, have some lunch. So let me see. I appreciate y'all. And, stay strong, and stay positive. It ain't over. So, it's definitely not over. Things are still going on. So, on that note, I appreciate you. Peace.
They want more. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.